The exhibit is about the past 100 years of police violence here in Chicago, and also the resistance to that violence, which has happened ever since the police were formed and continues to this day. Our goal with this exhibit was to bring together artists from all around Chicago, get all kinds of different perspectives on the history of Chicago citizens dealing with police. And we also wanted to provide a lot of resources for people to plug in right now. So we're going to be having teach-ins and panels and workshops, and we're really looking forward to being able to show the current work happening here in Chicago as well.
Activism is exhaustive physically, mentally, spiritually. So when specific events like this, it reminds me there are other people that I could heal with.
It was an honor to be able to give back to those who are being affected by the violence that's happening in Chicago. And within the space, we were able to come together and put that aside to give back to ourselves. And that was a really powerful thing to be a part of.
Rain, 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 rain. Rain, 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 rain. Rain, 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 rain. Even though we're the losses from, it reminds me of those of us we lost.
We also did want to make sure that we were talking about police and state violence in a cohesive way and not saying that these are isolated incidents, these are one-off, these are examples of bad cops. And so our message as a collective is one of prison and police abolition. And we wanted to make sure that we were using this exhibit as a chance to talk about that narrative, to invite people to ask questions, to reflect on what that really means, because it's not a simple question, it's not a simple solution.
So there's just this long arc of history targeting Black women primarily, but also women of color here in Chicago, and then just this tremendous long history of resistance, particularly around the case of Rakia Boyd.
For this exhibit to create the opportunity for me to do work that is really integral to me. It was just lovely, and I really wanted to think about how do I take something that already exists, ads, and reproduce them to something that would be helpful for the movement.
Racism means we got to fight. All that sexism means we got to fight. All these politics mean we got to fight. So fight back, fight back, fight back.
Ron said he wants to get gangs, kids, and guns off the streets. I guess that is why he opposed the CPD's senseless killings and is building the $95 million cop academy in our community that could benefit from so much more. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when this hood priestess, this ghetto gypsy comes for you? Pierre, ain't he here for you today and every day? And I say, ashe, ashe, ashe.
One way that people are able to kind of move forward in the current systems is by losing their memory. Prisons thrive on forgetting, right? And rendering people invisible. And so does policing. Policing is kidnapping people and taking them away and disappearing them.
And we're told we can't move on and do something different if you still want to keep bringing up that thing that happened that one time. Remembering it and honoring especially people that we've lost, I think are key to creating truer systems that are going to hold ourselves to higher accountability.
There must be a way out. Memories that bind, revenge and loss. Now is the password we got to open all the doors. Bang. The love we should fire is mine and yours.
I'd wanted to make a poster about Manuel Ramos ever since 1969. He stayed in my memory, even though I had not known him personally. The crimes that end their lives are remarkably monotonous. They play out in such similar ways, but the lives behind those stories are all completely unique. And through those, we can find connections with each other.
The first impulse on the part of the police is to justify the killing. So they begin to immediately circulate an account. They had a gun, they had it coming, they were thugs, and on and on and on. This installation allows the family members, particularly the mother, to tell the story in their own voices, what happened and how it's changed their lives.
I can recall the time we were at some friend's house, and this older lady was being disrespected. He didn't know her from the Man in the Moon, but he saw that and he just instantly went to her rescue. And the guy's like, trying to talk, basically telling him to shut up and mind his business, and he just couldn't do that. Before you knew it, he just bust out these karate moves, and I couldn't believe it. It was like watching a movie. And he ended up fighting the guy, and he showed his martial arts and everything. I was like, wow.
I am water under the ground. Water under the ground. I am water under the ground. My blood. My eyes.
It's drawing you in. It's asking you to be emotionally available to digest these things and to engage with what it really means to be interacting with such a violent police state.
Art changes society. My hope is change society in such a way that the people understand that they have to have control of the police. Sometimes if you have a single image, it's easy to look at the image, look at the message, and then sort of discount it. Just move to the next image and the next message. But my hope is that by superimposing images on top of other images, you're drawn into looking more deeply into the image, looking more deeply into the message that the image conveys. And my hope again is that that brings you closer to the message itself. And it's not so easy to dismiss it.
So we have a world in which over 90% of our media is corporate in the first place. All of the rest that most of us were seeing was going through a corporate filter anyway on the other end of that. And now that corporate filter is deciding that you don't get to see most of what's coming from publications. Like, this cannot be separated from the corporatocracy that we're living under in general, and we cannot afford to separate the corporatocracy from our understanding of policing. We're going to have to look to things like zines more. We're going to have to start digging back into our history more in terms of being creative about how we proliferate news and knowledge and analysis.
It is our duty to be imagining those solutions and really saying that it is possible, and coming together as a community. This night really showed we have power and we have numbers.
If we can convince ourselves or be told that the forest is a barren place with nothing for us to eat, we will starve to death. If we learn that in fact there's a lot of low-hanging fruit, then we will be happy and sassy. We see the possibilities that we believe that we can see. It doesn't mean you can simply wish anything you want into being, but you have to be open to the possibility of success, for example, because if you're not open to that possibility, then the evidence, the pathways, the opportunities simply will never be tangible. They'll never reach you, and you'll never see them, and you'll never be able to act on them.
We can continue to create new mythologies that can challenge these old ones. It's just that simple. It's really made up shit. Like, all of these systems of oppression is just made up shit. And I always love seeing people taking it upon themselves to be like, hey, I can just make up some shit too. And I can make up some shit that's better than what's happening right now.
I think this was a really interesting opportunity to reach people who maybe are feeling some kind of way, who want to get involved but don't know how, but we have to create the environments for that to happen.
Sanctuary in our hands. protest turned to song. Mama, mama, can't you see a future where our babies aren't policed? Us in all our breath and all our hopeful splendor, just waiting to be released. 'Cause we are not free today, but someday soon I imagine it's so. Off of this planet, light years away. You never said we can call our own. You will sing to me. We are all we need. Sing to me.
It's just, I believe ultimately that we're going to win, because I believe there are more people who want justice, real justice, than there are those who are working against that. And I don't also take a short-time view. I take a long view, understanding full well that I'm just this tiny little part of a story that already has a huge antecedent and has something that is going to come after that I'm definitely not going to be even close to around for seeing the end of.